All right, and hello everybody. My name is Alyssa Kinahan Dundas, and today you are listening to Real Shit Podcast, where, yes, we talk about some real ass shit. Today is April 19th, meaning that tomorrow is 420, and this has also been a month of continuous 420. But tomorrow is the day, and so get ready for that. Being that this is a podcast show that centers around self-awareness, self-reflection, as well as diving into a lot of our today's social issues, I want to start every podcast here on out with just a moment of calm. Meaning, I want us to take a moment before each episode to just find our breath, be present, and just try to create a space of peace. I think this is a very important way to start any conversation, try to clear the mind, and lower your nerves and anxieties and stresses. So we're just gonna take a moment, and I want you to breathe with me, okay? So I just want you to do a large, deep breath in, and a slow, deep breath out. I don't know if you can hear the birds in the background. It's really nice. Do one more. Deep breath in, and slowly out. If you want, you can shake out a little bit. And we'll begin with that. And actually, I also want to take note of what inspired me with that. When I went to college, I took a Crimes Against Humanities class. And it's a pretty heavy class, very sad and depressing. Obviously you get in Crimes Against Humanity, from genocide to torture and just, So every day before class, our professor, she would have us start the class with a few minutes of silence. You didn't have to participate, you didn't have to close your eyes, you didn't have to, do a breathing exercise. It's really just to sit down, and in the hustle bustle of school and work and everything, you're going, into your next class, and we're going to get into, like I said, some heavy topics. Take a moment before we do any of that and just relax before we dive into some of the big stuff that we are. And I think it's important to do that in a lot of different instances, and so I wanted to apply that within my podcast, because I even find myself kind of getting very emotional, or I'll say anxious, or just very eager, excited, or my adrenaline's going about certain topics. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having such passion, but I think going into anything that can have that kind of impact on you, right, that's emotional and bringing out a sense of intensity, I think it's important to sit down, take a moment, and all come together as a speaker, me, and you guys, a listener, audience, to kind of have a moment to come together and find that calmness within ourselves, focus on the breath, and begin a discussion, begin a dialogue. And being with today's topic, it is one of peace, understanding, and connectiveness, with it stemming from meditation and who we are in unison as well as individually. So that's what today is going to be about. We are still in quarantine. And today, like I said, is the 19th. It is Sunday. Today is the day I like to drop my podcast. And the reason that I'm doing it just now at 1:24, and I'm back. My video cut out on my camera. I'm currently using my phone because I have unlimited storage. So until I can upgrade in these trying times, this is what I will have to deal with. But I want to make sure you guys can see me. Hey, all right, I'm back. So as I was saying, It is currently 1:26 now. Took me 2 minutes to figure that out. Um, and the reason as to why I am doing it today, the day that my podcast is due, is because last night I was going to do it last night, and I just was not in the right mindset at all. Very off day. And when I do these things and I come to you guys and I want to have these conversations, I want to be in a right mindset. I want to be in the right place. I don't want to talk about any topics that I may be going about in a way that's not genuine, that's just not receiving. I don't want to address a topic that's not receiving the appropriate energy from me, whether it's interest or just I'm coming at it with, from a negative angle because I'm not in a good mood. You know what I mean? So screw it. Fuck it. If I'm going to come at you about topics that I feel passionate about, and hopefully you do as well, I want to have a clear mind of peace, which is another reason as to why I think it's important for us to begin each episode with a moment of breath, a moment of calmness, and just pausing in a sense, just being in the present, So yeah, and I've been meditating every day. So I haven't meditated yet today, the 19th. But so today will mark 19 days of continuous meditation. I have upped it from 10 minutes, I've upped it from 15 minutes. That's where I started, to 20, and now actually today will be the first day starting with 25 minutes of meditation. And it's actually not easy for me. And so this is actually our segue now into the topic of today's podcast. And meditation for me recently has not been what it usually is. And I found it a lot easier, and I'm going to say rewarding, in my last apartment where I lived by myself. It's interesting because I wasn't necessarily in the mental space that I am today when I was living alone. I was in a better place at that time, since it was returning from my trip in practicing meditation. But I just felt more in tune, not just with myself, but with the world. And now it almost feels as if I'm meditating to, have my consecutive days, and I'm basically just waiting for the bell to ring to get back into my daily routine of really what am I doing every day. It's about nothing. I do actually a lot of side projects, but still, I feel like day to day on average I'm like playing video games. Spider-Man game on PS4 is absolutely amazing. Anyways, and so I decided my last meditation, not my last, but I meditated yesterday. This was, I don't even think I dated it in my little handy-dandy notebook. I did. The 17th, so 2 days ago. I decided, dropping my pen. Ooh, reach, Alyssa. I decided to you should always start your meditation with breathing. But you can do different types of meditation. You know what? I'm going to kill this phone because she keeps cutting off. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope this is the last time I have to do this. All right. We're back again. Okay. I'm going to have to do this a couple times, but maybe I'll make it fun. Make sure I get up every now and again and I'm paying attention to what's happening around me. So, as I was saying, I was meditating, and I decided a little less than halfway through my meditation that I wanted to do loving kindness meditation, which is where you take a moment to send love and light and warmth to anyone you like. So it's important to start off with yourself, sending love and light your way and sending in that warmth. And then you can do it however it's best for you. But that day I decided to start with then sending out love and light to friends and family. And, then you could go to like everyone in mass. And I hope, sending them health and strength during this time, And then you can, mass as in Massachusetts. And then you can go grander than that, wider, more general. You can pick the whole world, and then you can send love and light to animals and the sun and the moon and the stars and the universe. And I think actually we need to be doing that all together in a time like this, just sending positivity to the world. And then you can even send it to people that you may have had a difficult time with. Maybe somebody who has given you pain in your life, or somebody you feel like has wronged you. It's important to also realize that everyone is going through their own trial and tribulations and trying to figure themselves out and their place in this world. And just as you are doing that, others are doing the same. And the warmth that you feel when the sun hits you is the same warmth that the whole world feels. So it's important to send that warmth outwardly as well as inwardly, and to everybody, because at the end of the day, we're all human. But you also have to remember that when you're doing that, it's a first step to forgiveness. It's a first step to humanizing everyone and realizing that we're not all perfect. And it's a first step. It doesn't mean that you have to, you're in a moment or in a space of forgiveness, but that you're sending positivity to everyone, regardless of past experiences, and more so of that person individually, and not the connection that you have, whether it is hurt or not. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not something that you should do just to do it. It should be genuine only when you're ready, and if it's something you choose that you want to do. I think that's very important. So I was doing this, and I had a moment that came to me that almost seemed like a revelation. And I decided to come back to my meditation and also kind of listen to that revelation, kind of, yes, give it a little bit of attention, but try not to have it control my meditation or overpower it. And then so I decided, okay, after my meditation, I'll take a moment to write in my journal and kind of note everything down that I was kind of thinking and processing. And so I wanted to share this with you guys. And it was actually crazy because I did wanted to record my podcast that day, which was, I believe, today's Sunday. So it had to be Friday. And I wanted to actually record then, and I had no idea what I was going to do my podcast about. And then I did my meditation, and it came to me. And that's happened a couple of times, so I think it's an amazing thing. But unfortunately, I didn't, record that day. I got caught up, and then I wasn't in the right mind space yesterday. So here we are today. And so I'll just kind of read off a little bit with you where my mind was at. So obviously, like I said, I was meditating. And I wrote down, feel your mind being the epicenter, the one in control, the heart of you. And I wrote this down because during my meditation, I genuinely felt that in my breathing technique, in my time trying to be present and focusing on the breath, I really felt that all coming from up here in my head, my mind, and being aware of my extensions. So I truly felt like my mind was my heart. It was what is in control of everything else that is me, and every part of me was an extension of my mind. And I felt that. I tried to be self-aware of that, physically aware of that. And so this concept of, your heart being within the mind, the soul of who you are, that felt very powerful to me. It was a new experience for me. And so then I wrote, heart of your being, like a heart of a tree, and the rest of you being leaves and branches. So it's as if, think of your body, you as a tree, and your mind is the heart of the tree, and everything else is the branches and the leaves. And I wrote, they too are crucial. These extremities of you, these branches. So they too are crucial, bearing and absorbing sunlight and rain. Your mind, needs and requires all of you. But the heart of the tree, your mind, is what equally disperses nutrients, love, and care. They rely on each other. And I then went on to say, which actually I like to reflect on and look back on, because it's an interesting statement that I myself wrote, and I like to say I agree with it, but it is interesting that I wrote this the way that I did, and I like to look back and reflect on it. So I'm curious to know what you guys think of this comment that I wrote. And I said, you cannot truly love part of you without loving all of you. But it is a great way to start, to give and feel love piece by piece, one step at a time. And part of me I look back at this and I'm like, I feel like you can truly love part of you, but not fully be at a place where you love all of you. I think that's the goal at the end of the day, but this is something I question. I look back on, and I'm not even completely sure of it myself, but I like where I was going with it. And it's interesting. I think now that I'm speaking on it, I feel like you can love bits and pieces of you. But the moment of which you are in love with who you are truly, you love all of you. You know what I mean? So you can love your curves, you can love, your stretch marks, you can love, not even just physically, you can love how courageous you are, you can love how sensitive you are, how open you are, how determined. There's, you know what I mean? There's so many aspects of you that you can learn to love. Even the parts of you that, your flaws, learn to love those too. But the moment in which you do love every piece of you, I think is the moment you fall in love with all of you and who you are and the embodiment of you. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And then I went on to write, we are recreations of life itself. We are renditions of this very universe. And we are therefore worthy without question. Worthy as is. Us being here, being born, is any and all validation. This world does not make mistakes. And so then I wrote, so perhaps you ask yourself, well, what about depression? Physical deformities, or I wrote the trans experience. Because I did think, how I wrote, the world does not make mistakes, and yet there are people who feel as though, they are born in the incorrect body. So without ignoring that, I then wrote, just because the walk of life may be more difficult for some, the value of the human body does not change. Many times those difficulties or challenges stem from society and societal standards. The world saw you fit as is, but also saw it fit to have freedom of thought. So I don't want to ignore those experiences of people who do deal with depression or other aspects that pose challenges, to their life as being a minority or being a minority, or just dealing with scenarios where they feel obviously they're disenfranchised, and I'm not trying to ignore that, but I don't think the world, basically what I'm trying to say is the way who you are as a person is in no means a mistake. You are perfect as is. And you are fitting as is, but this universe also saw it very fitting to have freedom of thought. And so that is why I then go on to believe that how you see your life fit, however that may be, is valid. And is also correct to your truth. So I said a free thinking, questioning, and here's the key, evolving mind is very important. So therefore, the way you think, see, and experience the world holds equal value and importance to just physically existing. Your experiences, what you've witnessed, what you've gone through, is just as important as just being, and accepting that. That holds value into your character and who you are. So I then go on to say, living the life you want, desire, and think, freedom of thought, think is best, is the way you should exist. That is your right. So long others are not hurt in the process, as their existence and thinking mind are just as equal and valid in wanting to live. Bearing that in mind, we are not alone. When true self-love is felt, that warmth, that nutrients, that love should be passed on for our continued survival. For we are not a single tree, but a forest. We were created and exist not for ourselves, but for each other. We are not meant to be here alone. We are not meant to grow alone. Matter of fact, it's impossible for you to grow alone. Of course, you have people that impact your life very directly, right? Family members, friends. But I think there's many outside indirect factors that affect who you are long-term and in short-term. And therefore impact your walk of life and how you view the world. And that is very powerful. And we do that to each other. We are given that power to impact others, and others are given that power to impact us. Which can be a scary thing, right? Because it doesn't just, null out, become void because we're both given this capability, this power. Some of us use it and manipulate to our advantage in a good and bad way, and others don't at all. They're not aware of it. And even still, that power exists, and we do it without knowing. But if you know you have it, there's a lot you can do with it. And hopefully you use that power for good. That social engagement, that connectiveness, just handing out a helping hand, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences are some positive ways to impact others. Really just smiling at somebody, And let's see. All right, then I go on to say, you are not a coincidence, and neither am I. Sure, life itself will continue with or without us, and our life is nothing but a mere passing moment for this universe. But you, specifically, and me, and our worldly community, matter, because it cannot be replicated, and how amazing to think that even in a short time of our lives, relative to the universe, that we can greatly impact each other, and therefore the world. So live happily, live graciously, live honestly, and live freely. Feel the heart of the tree. Feel your mind and body, and love all that it is. Your existence is on purpose, and it is powerful. So that is kind of where that whole thought process, all of that came from a moment of within meditation, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I had to write it down, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys and share it. Again, I would love your feedback on this. Just really trying to understand and be aware of myself individually, others, and how we connect. Think of it as this. A single tree has its own system as far as maintaining itself and growing, right? But a tree within a forest is a whole, that's an ecosystem, right? There's other things that impact a single tree as well as a bunch of trees. They rely on each other. Trees can actually communicate to each other. And the growth of a tree in a forest then also impacts other creatures, other animals, right? Living below or within the tree, And we all know this cycle of life, impact, it's all connected. But I think it's very important, especially during a time like we are now, to remind ourselves just how connected fundamentally, intrinsically, and naturally we really are. And just how much we impact each other unconsciously, and how important it is to impact each other consciously, with purpose, with love. And so just with that being said, I would like again to take a moment to breathe. Now that we're kind of nearing the end of today's podcast. So let's just take a moment and get comfortable if you're not. Hopefully you are, and you've been comfortable throughout the podcast. I want you to sit comfortably, lay comfortably, stand comfortably, wherever you are. Close your eyes. Just find your breath, slowly find your breath. And when you feel ready, I want you to start to take a deep breath in. Ready? And you let it out slowly. And again, in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Your out breath should always be at least 1 second longer than your in breath. Your in breath is an active moment, and your exhale is passive. In and out. And it's nice to notice the little things, such as, you take a breath in and it's cool, refreshing air. And you exhale outside of your nose, not your mouth. But you can do your mouth if you want. I'm talking, so that's why it's happening for me. So we'll do this again. Through meditation, it's actually very interesting. Meditation, you breathe in and out of your nose, never your mouth. Yoga seems, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but yoga seems it's in the nose and out the mouth. So really, I'd like for you to do whatever, slow down a little. I'd like you to do whatever is comfortable for you. But the interesting thing to notice is how cool the air is when you breathe in, and the warmth it is when it comes out, just from passing through your body, your lungs. When you're ready, if you have not yet, open your eyes slowly. Welcome, we're back. So I'd just like to take a moment again to reflect on our piece and our conversation of today, and that tomorrow is 4/20. So I'm kind of bringing up the energy a little bit because I'm pretty excited. Today's a beautiful day. It's 55 here in Boston. Tomorrow's 4/20. I don't know if you are an advocate for cannabis use. I am a very strong advocate, whether it is for medicinal or recreational. I just received my medical card, hoping to get my ID in the mail. I actually would love, I think, in the near future to do a podcast on marijuana use and the negative and positive impacts of it. I think we are in a time now that it's beginning to be discussed about more as a drug, as far as, because it is, It's used for medical reasons. It's a useful drug, but also how it can negatively impact you and others. And I think it's important to be real about that, because everyone is different, especially with their family history of drug use. And because, to be honest, you can really take anything, and too much of anything can be a bad thing. So I would love to kind of talk about that with you guys in a very open mind, and one of peace, love, and calmness. It's important to not it's important to not go into any conversation with just you being headstrong and feeling like you almost own a topic. It's important to always come into conversation with an open mind and heart, and understand that you cannot always change the mind of others, and not even change the mind. Not everyone is willing to even peek in your mind, and try to get a sense of what you are trying to say, and your knowledge. So it's almost letting go in a sense, and caring for something gently, and not strangling a topic that you're very passionate about or interested in. It's important to go into things with ease, but it's hard to do that, especially when it is very personal. It's personal. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I'm going to close it off here, and I look forward to seeing and speaking with you guys in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully life will return into a nice new normal sooner than later. Stay healthy, stay safe, and still to this day, stay the fuck inside. All right, guys. Stay home. I know some beaches are opening up now, and in certain places, and people are very eager to get inside. My personal opinion, you don't gotta take it or leave it. Stay the fuck inside. It's still too soon. I'd rather be safe than sorry. This whole situation does not discriminate. So of age, race, gender, best to stay inside. And wait it out, because it is your life and others. So maybe take a moment to breathe, meditate, do whatever you need to do nothing, and try to take every day to love maybe a new part of you if you're not already loving all of you. A new thing for me, and we're gonna sign off here, is I realize I don't truly look at myself every day. And I think it's crazy. I see myself every day. I see myself in the mirror. I'm looking, it's almost I look past me and just look at my outfit, my hair, or whatever. And I don't take a moment, truly a moment, to look in the mirror and look myself in the eyes. And just take a moment to see me, to look at myself and where I stand today. I don't do that. And it's crazy. I genuinely was thinking the other day, how often do I actually see myself, and I think that's also why life seems to fly by and pass us by, is we don't take a moment every day. I'm talking literally 20 seconds, to just look at yourself. That's why I think it's important to meditate, to sit with yourself, and actually try to think of a body part or something about me that I have an insecurity about, and try to give it love, send it love. It's important to do that. This is the body we get to walk in, that does so many great things for us. And some are not as fortunate. So it's important to, no matter what, love the body in which we are in, and therefore try to bring that love inwards with the mind, and find peace within the mind. So yes, I'll end there. Thank you. Again, stay home, breathe, and stay safe. Sending you guys love and light, and thank you. All right. Bye. Peace. Bye. And happy 420.
Bye.